So this guy's all using his psychic gifts and just breaking balls. Breaking balls. But they're looking for a girl that is either missing. I don't know if they've determined her to be murdered yet or not. That I just don't know that. I just don't know. I want to know. Actually, I don't want to watch the show. I don't want to get emotionally entangled into any other TV shows. But I observe what is the first show of the day. So there. So there. Somebody brought us this. And you know, I don't need this. I don't like having stuff like that. I never have. Never have. I feel bad for giving it away, but I'm going to put it underneath something. And I guess I'll put it out in the barn. I don't want to have that. I don't want to have that around. I don't like having, I don't need any paraphernalia in my life. You understand me? Yesterday I was getting very depressed. And maybe I still am. I'm not entirely sure. I don't feel as bad as I did yesterday, but yesterday I woke up in the middle of the night and I took 2 more of these pills to sleep. But not whatever, it says on the bottle to do that. It's like you can take up to 4, and I don't want to take up to 4 because then I won't have any left. And they need to last like a whole month. I don't know if they will or not. They're supposed to accumulate in your system. Those are the best sort of medicines for me. If I can get something that I take and I can just let it build into my system and have me feel overall better, I prefer that. I don't necessarily enjoy the quick fixes in life because they don't fix shit. They don't fix shit. I know that. Some people act like, as if you don't know aware of your own fucking addictive tendencies. And Scott says that collectively we're experiencing decompensation, which is a technical psychiatry term, meaning that our crutches that we have, the crutch is a symbol of a prop to prop you up so you can operate. It's also on the tree of life, it's the card for temperance. And that card has an alternate meaning. There's an alternate version of that card for the internal work, and it shows a redheaded, like, I don't even know what the card looks like now. I'll have to put it in there. It's an interesting hidden truth or pathway, because the card temperance is you balancing fire and water, emotion, and causality mixed in with passion. I say causality mixed in with passion for fire, to distinguish it from like mind, because mind can be lusty, and that's not the same energy as fire always, but it is the fiery end of air. It seems to me the wind's blowing really hard outside today because a cold front's coming in. It started getting cold in my room early in the morning, and I have a heater in there that rolls around that is now fixed to the end of my bed. That bed is weird. The dreams that I do have, they are warped by having that TV right there, because it makes like a Black Mirror screen in the dark. Like I have the L shape. I have the L shape. Um, the guy was talking about that. What was I listening to? somebody was breaking down MK Ultra trauma and saying, when they break people down and they give them hot and cold, the opposites back and forth because they're trying to fracture your identity. That's why there's an alternate card. That's why there's an alternate card. On the one card, you've got the angel coming down. 1 foot's in water and 1 foot's on the earth. And then you've got the air and fire balancing, doing this. Now, I've recently.
That's his phone ringing. He thinks. He thinks. But then it rings again at the editing phase as I look at him through the doorway.
Robots. We are in some sort of AI generated hologram matrix or something. And I mean, like, in a bad way. I mean, like, in a bad way. I don't know. I heard someone's take on how we could have been lured from the higher dimensions into something like this. And I try not to think that way. Try not to think that way. It's very disempowering. It's very hard enough to keep yourself motivated in a fine state of mind, feeling like you're empowered, although you may not be. I periodically, from time to time, try to reconnect with my people, at least after waiting for quite a while. It seemed to be that waiting and giving that person time was ideal to do, especially while being in a stable place, not having moved. Because that you didn't used to be the case. I used to move all the time, move all around all the time. Now I have not moved. I'm actually stable on the land, but this isn't my land. And whenever my dad dies, I'm sure I'm going to immediately have to move. I do have a home that I have to pay for with my brother, but I have no will and no want to have to work and live in Houston at all. At all. Do not like Houston. I like to visit from time to time. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But the psychic energy of Houston is very hard to deal with whenever you have psychically grounded to a place like this. This place is booming and all that bullshit too. But you have the river. You have the river and you can anchor into the river because it is about as alive and stable in the land as somebody can tolerate. Even a psychopath, psychonaut.
As myself. So I think that's part of what I can owe my snapback rebound of. I feel okay. I don't feel like I'm not like elated, but I definitely have some underlying deep despondent depression going on. I don't know what work I'm supposed to do to resolve that, but I mean, I'll begin today. I kind of do. I kind of do. I'm going to show you this alternate card. It's real significant now, I think, for all of us. You know, this card was in the Golden Dawn's tarot deck, and it had an alternate card for um, Temperance, which is um, the arrow. The first three paths you have Kof, Shin, and Tav. That's at the very bottom of this tattoo that I've got here is the bottom Sephiroth, the Minitamundum. And coming out of here in three ways, it's three Hebrew letters. Kof, which is on your right hand path, that's the moon, and it's the back of your head. Kof. Tav, that's the middle path. That's the world, and it's Saturn, and it's a cross. Tav means cross. And then you have Shin. But if you take those three letters, Kashet is the bow that you shoot the arrow with. And this other path is the arrow. Um, Samek means prop. It means a prop, like a crutch, something that holds you up. But in a way, if you think about it, an arrow could be the same thing. If it's holding you up or apart from your enemies. See, because if you're having to use a defensive mechanism prop, be you broke your leg, so you've got to use crutches. It's because you broke your leg. You have a disease. And being at war, either literally or metaphorically, causes you to need something to buffer that area. And that's sort of that's the topic that I'm looking at and trying to bring here, trying to make sense of it because, like he said this is collective decompensation, which means that your normal way and mechanisms to deal with shit aren't working anymore. But they're not. They're not. And the next layer of trauma that I go to is that broken heart of my disconnected state to my family, which I try to alleviate. And even just to get a damn phone conversation, shit. I made a whole video and sent it to them, so I don't know what to do. I'm not going to ask for their number and just directly call them or do none of that shit. I sent a word to the two channels of way that I do. One, her mom, which is her aunt, actually, and my sister-in-law supposedly had friends with her on Facebook, and I didn't ask any of those people anything else. I didn't even get a did you send my message? I didn't even ask my sister-in-law that. I sent her the message and I asked her to give it to her, and she never said shit. I know her phone works, but that's a weird sort of. There's a weird sort of. When I do that, maybe wrongly trying to compensate a little bit for my ex. I may not have no business to even do that, but I do it in a way. Although, when people are in relationships and they complain about what the other person does to them, you don't hear them complain about the thing that they do for them that was good. You don't. But that doesn't mean that the person that loves the other person ever stops doing something like that. And I do try to give her some credit to some degree because I know all this crazy shit about the world that we're in now. We still have a higher destiny, of course. So I don't know. When I communicate what I know of myself, put it out here, and I talk about these weird dynamics, I have faith that while I'm in that stasis question mark, that knowing it's something I feel like I could do, that I am doing, and putting it back forward, that connects with other people, y'all's the same thing. Because you might be in trauma and distress too. You might know what options you have and may learn them in some new way. And by that, our collective psychic, we're holding back the bow so that we can shoot.